Hi, I'm Corey Driver, and this is Moving Forward. So this week we are in Proverbs 25, Psalm 112, Hebrews 13, and Luke 14, and we're talking about exalting and humbling. I have very slowly been working my way through Michael Rhodes' formative feasting practices and virtue ethics in Deuteronomy's tithe meal and Corinthians' Lord's Supper. In it, Rhodes argues that sharing a meal together, a ritual meal, is Scripture's main way of creating community and whole community solidarity. As envisioned in Deuteronomy and elsewhere, the pilgrimage festivals of Passover, Pentecost, and Tabernacles were meant to inculcate the wisdom of social leveling through eating together. These feasts were to be experienced as delights where the exalted were humbled and the humbled were exalted. The descriptions of the New Testament commonwealth around the table and around the world take this idea very seriously. And throughout the New Testament, you see this commitment to solidarity through social leveling, particularly around the Lord's Supper. So the lectionary texts this week all address God's wisdom of humbling the exalted and exalting the humbled. In the psalm for this week, the person who fears the Lord and delights in God's commandments is said to have wealth and riches in his house. And yet, those riches are not a reward, but a tool for righteousness. The rich person is gracious, compassionate, and righteous. That compassion and grace are not just emotional experiences, but are practices. The rich person lends graciously, practices justice, and gives generously to the poor. The duty of those who have resources to take care of those who do not have resources is not just doing the right thing. It's the performance of basic wisdom and justice, according to the psalmist. In the epistle to the Hebrews, the writer suggests that those who follow Jesus should actually follow Jesus in doing what Jesus did. Imagine that. Just as Jesus commanded and commended hospitality to foreigners, Luke 10, 8 through 12, and Matthew 25, 35, so his community is to practice hospitality to foreigners, here in Hebrews 13, 2. Just as Jesus commanded his followers to care for those who are in prison, so the author of Hebrews here says, followers of Jesus should take care of those who are in prison and those who suffer from governmental mistreatment. Just like Jesus declared that you can't serve God and wealth, the author of Hebrews declares that the followers of Jesus are not to be lovers of money. In summation, the author of Hebrews tells her readers, Team Priscilla all the way, to please God through doing good and sharing resources. The consistent ethic of care where humans with resources take care of humans without resources, particularly foreigners, prisoners, and the poor, reflects the ongoing value of humbling the exalted and exalting the humbled. Finally, we turn to the gospel account where Jesus gives a excursus on Proverbs 25. Again, as I've said many times, and the scholars agree, Jesus is a Pharisee. He is here dining with Pharisees. Pharisees do not dine with people who are not Pharisees. Ipso facto, Jesus is seen as a Pharisee. And Jesus, being a Pharisee, gives a little Bible study with the meal. Community meals are not an occasion to exalt oneself. That kind of posturing inevitably leads to embarrassment and strife. And we know this, right? Like, you don't like to hang out with people who are bragging about themselves all the time, right? Like, I don't like that. Jesus here is simply telling people what they already know. It feels way better to be honored by other people after acting humbly than it does to be insulted or ridiculed after we try to make ourselves great. It's the last paragraph of the gospel reading this week that I think is particularly important. Jesus says, when you're party planning, do not invite those who can practice reciprocity. If I can invite you to a party, you can invite me back, and we have repaid each other. Instead, Jesus tells his hearers to expend their resources by inviting the poor and those with disabilities who will not be able to pay back the invitation. Jesus says that such meals and the physical and social capital expended to offer them will be paid back in the resurrection, not in this current life. Drawing again on the ideas from Rhodes' formative feasting, Jesus posits a meal where the social standing and material well-being of the poor and those likely excluded are raised by those who are rich and powerful, using their social and material capital to invite the folk. There is a humbling of the exalted, rather than giving parties for folks who will be seen and raising social status by means of parties. They're to do the opposite. They are to lower their social status by inviting guests who cannot honor them in return. These parties raise the social capital and the material well-being of the poor and the foreigners and everybody to be invited. As James 1:9-10 says, we are to rejoice with the humbling of the exalted and the exalting of the humbled. Friends, a couple millennia before Marcel Mauss's The Gift analyzed social reciprocity in gift exchanges, the Bible offers a masterclass in how meals and invitation and seating charts can have social impacts. A humble host who invites the poor and the foreigners has tremendous capacity to enact justice and social leveling through solidarity at mealtimes. From the Torah to the epistles, exalting the humble and humbling the exalted has always been God's technique for creating beloved community, especially at mealtimes. So let's eat. Thanks be to God. Amen.